Start a Flyers post-game show. That's the game to do a post-game show after for the first ever, right out of the gates, the Flyers post-game show, courtesy of Buzz Sports and Entertainment. So what do we do here? We bring in the top-line guys from Nasty Knuckles. You know them, you love them. Riley, Cote, and Derek Settlemyre, of course, right there, the Nasty Knuckles boys. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing
What's
well.
going on, Farzy?
It's great to have you. And we have our other man that we need along the boards as well, Hunter Brody. You know him as Brodes. Sports Talk with Brodes. Brodes, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, fantastic victory there. You really needed to squeak out those 2 points.
No doubt. I'm sure it was a big 2 points at the old barn there in the center of Manhattan. But it was just great to see the Flyers get this win. They came out swinging, similar to the way they came out at their first couple of home games here with fans in Philadelphia, where they got the first goal, and you thought, this is the moment where they right the ship. As a matter of fact, they got 2 goals in the first 6 minutes of this game, guys. And then all of a sudden, you saw that go away really in the second period. You're starting to get worried. You see Claude Giroux get hit, and then you see the Flyers start to get their bearings under them again. Riley, I'll start with you. What jumped out to you about this Flyers victory?
Well, you know what? Just a little inconsistent as kind of the whole season's been. I think the first period, like you said, a great first period. Put up 11 shots, 2 goals, and they go in the second, and they dumped it in the second. It's 3 goals, and they're lucky they squeezed out that goal right at the end, the power play goal by Farabee. But just inconsistencies, just some just lackluster play, gap issues, D-man getting lost. It's kind of the story of the season, So I'm super glad that they're able to pull it out. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, going into that third period.
Yeah, Nasty, I know that I was looking for some kind of spark, and as you know, Riley likes to say, and Brodes, you know this too, Riley likes to say every once in a while you're going to have to get greasy. And it looked like Nolan Patrick tried to get a little greasy there when the captain Claude Giroux was hit in the second period, and then Jake Voracek got involved in it as well. It seemed like it was a little bit of a different hockey game after that, Nasty.
Yeah, I agree. Nolan's the last guy you really want jumping into a situation like that, but he's a team guy. And I mean that coming off of his head injury from last year or post-concussion syndrome, whatever you want to call it. But he's a team guy. He went in there and Jake Voracek saw that. He didn't hesitate. He got in there for Patty. That always lifts your team. Riley can tell you that. But I'll tell you what, I think Brodes probably knows that just by the look. I think he's bringing more energy, Riggs, than you with that headband. I'm loving it, man.
He definitely is. He definitely is.
He's the energy guy
Man,
that we need.
He is the energy guy.
There's no doubt that was my role when I was in the locker room. Dancing in the showers and just the energy in the locker room. It definitely wasn't anything I did on the ice. All I did was chip it off the glass and change in 20 seconds. But I do want to give you my thoughts on what stood out to me, because I'm normally the negative guy. I'll rip like Ghost or Sanheim for some neutral zone issues that lead into some problems in the D zone. But how about the captain? I thought Claude Giroux, the leadership of this crew with him and Voracek and what they did on the power play, it's been miserable. Although the last couple of games you've seen some better play. But that last play to tie it up when he goes backdoor, that was beautiful.
Insane.
Love the captain tonight.
And also had a great opportunity to set up, and did set up, who was it, Scott Lawton on the breakaway on a crisp pass down the center of the ice, forcing the turnover, stealing the pass, intercepting it more or less, hitting Scott Lawton in stride, streaking down the slot, and then unfortunately couldn't bury it home. But I agree with you, Brodes. I saw him when he got the high sticking penalty, and you guys correct me, a little embellishment, a little bit of selling it, sure. A little bit. But hey, that's what leaders do. They get the 2-man advantage, or they get the man advantage. They get the 4-minute power play. They obviously score on it. That's what great leaders do.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you look at Panarin as their leader, and he's putting up 3 points. And G needed to have, like I say, a breakthrough game like that. And the hit on him, the team rallies around him. You mentioned the power play goals at the between his and Farabee's, some crisp passing. I mean, G is an elite player, but your elite players have to be elite. And like to your guys' point, G was tonight, including some other guys. I thought Coots had a strong game. Voracek, obviously, Farabee, a few forwards, but then there's some forwards that are non-existent almost. So there needs to be, a little bit more from these other guys too. And you can't just always rely on your go-to guys.
Yeah. I mean, Voracek at the end of that game with the game winner, I don't know. Was that a bad? What did you guys think? Was that a bad play by the Rangers or a hustle play by Voracek to actually pry that puck loose and be able to get the one-on-one?
I don't know. I thought when Kincaid, when Kincaid came out and played that, I was like, I understood what he was doing because the Flyers looked to make a change. It's like, hey, let's get the puck up ice. Let's try and catch them. But Voracek stayed out there and made it happen. So now that we're on goalies, I mean, Carter Hart's a big storyline. Oh, what do we think about Hartsy after this one?
I thought he made 2 unbelievable saves. Obviously, the one at the beginning of the period on Kreider. I mean, that's just if Kreider holds that puck a second. But you're not thinking that you guys, the game happened so fast, that's a slam dunk, and Carter found a way to get a save there. And he made one a little later in the period as well. I thought I couldn't really blame him, Riles. I don't know. Like I didn't think he really let a softie in. I'm hoping this is going to build. Yeah. A couple snipes, but I think this is, hopefully they can build on this. Obviously it wasn't the prettiest, but like we always say, they found a way to do it. Jake was dying. Back to your point. Did you see him after, Jimmy? He couldn't even raise his hands. He was so tired.
That's what you call a greasy road win, Farzy. Greasy road win.
That's it.
Exactly.
But Farzy, to me, G was a player of the game. I mean, he seemed to win every loose puck battle along the boards. His legs, he's moving really well. Not that he's old, but in hockey years, he's getting up there, but the guy can play, and I thought he was the player of the game.
Yeah, and he even won that faceoff in the offensive zone on the power play that set up the goal that tied it at 4-4 and obviously forced overtime. But you're right, a lot of miles on those legs for the Flyers captain. Speaking of saves, not just from goaltenders, but Brodes, James Van Riemsdyk found a way. I don't know how this happened, but the puck squirted through the legs of Carter Hart in net. Seemed like it was dancing in the crease. Looked like it was going to cross the line. And James Van Riemsdyk swiped in with his stick and just put it down the other end.
Yeah, JVR, I think as a whole, that top line is playing amazing. But the way that JVR is even, starts in the D zone, but he's even creating opportunities offensively to even start the game as well. I just love that first line of him, Farabee, Coutts. They're just playing so well. And for him to be producing, when they signed him to that big ticket, you're like, okay, that's a little bit for JVR. And he was playing well in Toronto. And I don't know if you got that last year, and he wasn't playing the same way. I thought he was playing bottom 6 minutes, wasn't playing with the right people. But now you put him with guys that really help him take the most out of him. It's like these players he's playing with is helping JVR elevate his game. And that's not a knock on him, but I think playing with Farabee and Coutts just elevates him to that next level. And you're seeing him play with confidence right now. JVR is playing really good for this team.
And you know what, Brodes, coming out of college, I remember Riles knows, he played with him. JVR's game is not to be a big banger, but, running through guys. I remember Lavi used to say, JVR, I don't want that guy through the wall. That's not his game, boys. He's got to play minutes, but he's got to play with skilled guys. And now he's getting to, and, don't want to jinx him, but he's a player that's got to play with skilled players. And when he's playing bottom 6 minutes, like you said, he's not going to, how's he going to produce if he's, playing that role? And I feel like Jake Voracek, his minutes slide down sometimes, and Jake's one of those guys that has to get minutes to get his legs going. He can't sit. Jakey can't sit and then be expected to go out and play. It's just not. He'll tell you that.
Yeah, and one of the things I noticed from his game this year is he seems like he is being a little bit more patient. Like it seems like he's being aggressive at the same time, but finding that good balance of when to sit back and then when to be aggressive. And he seems like he's the guy that is most consistently in the Flyers crease, making things happen for this team.
Yeah, I agree. And when JVR lined up coming back in the Flyers, I didn't know what to expect, and he's certainly surprised me on many different levels. And I didn't expect what I'm seeing out of Farabee either. And so it's just like, and Coutts is the glue, obviously. I mean, Coutts is winning faceoffs left and right, and they just look like they've played together for years, for whatever reason. So it's really nice to see. But JVR has really jacked up his game. I mean, this might be his best year or best season of his NHL career.
Real quick, 30-goal seasons up there with when he was with Toronto. But just real quick, in case you're just joining us, no, you've never seen this before. This is the first time we're doing this type of show. We got Hunter Brody, Brodes, Sports Talk with Brodes. Brodes, you are hosting us on your YouTube channel right now, correct?
That is correct.
All right, and what can we normally see on your YouTube channel?
Oh, we do a lot of post-game reactions after every Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, Eagles game. There's a lot of just instant reaction, hit on the camera and start screaming or being excited, depending on the outcome.
You get excited? High energy? The guy dancing
energy.
naked in the shower? Yes, that's you.
Yes, it is.
and then I think our hockey people very much know the Nasty Knuckles boys. We got Nasty and we got Knuckles with us. We got Nasty Derek Settlemyre, of course, and then we also have Riley Cote, former Philadelphia Flyers. You guys do a phenomenal job on your podcast/web show. Where can we see you guys often?
Well, we're on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcast, YouTube, as well as social media, Instagram, Twitter mainly, and some Facebook. So a little bit of everywhere, but yeah, mainly on the standard podcast platforms.
Mm-hmm. And Derek, you're quarterback in that show, doing a wonderful job, and you're making sure that you guys have all the great guests and all that. I know you guys had Chris Pronger on recently. Yeah. You guys have just dominated the hockey scene in terms of that conversation.
Well, we've been lucky to be able to do what we both have done in the past and meet some great people and become friends. And that definitely helps with getting people on, the show and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun, and we got a lot of good things coming up as well.
All right. Awesome. Look forward to that. And for the hockey crowd that might not know me, my name is Marc Farzetta. I do the Farzy Show Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. live, and then available throughout the day on all social media platforms. I want to get back to this game tonight because there's no bones about it here. Flyers needed a win, fellas. Needless to say, they needed a win. They had been struggling. Is there any, we always look for that type of game that can help turn things around, and maybe this is the one that rights the ship. Was there anything about this game, Derek, I'll start with you, that jumped out to you that said, you know what, maybe this is that game where they can start to turn that corner?
Well, what really did it is the fact that they found a way to win. And I mean, that's an easy way out, but it almost reminded me a little bit of an NBA game, bro. So just, just ups and downs, the runs. It was like each team was making a run. The Flyers came out. Obviously, you want to start a game. You scored 2 goals in the first 5 minutes. That's the way you want to play it. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then they come out second period flat-footed, which happens. But the fact that they tie it up, like you said, and find a way to win it. I mean, Carter came up with a couple huge saves. Grant Fuhr used to say, get me 5 and we'll win, or get me 6 and we'll win. You always make that big save, but seriously, Carter came up with a huge save too, actually. And I think the fact that they found a way to win, I think it's encouraging anyway, because that could have gone the other way. If it goes the other way, boys, now you got 2 days until you play again, and it's not a great feeling, as Riley can tell you.
Real quick, Derek, you just mentioned Carter Hart. Just to jump in for a second, Carter Hart, after the game, according to Flyers Twitter, saying that he definitely feels better. There are a lot of things I can work on. I know I need to work on, but I also know I can be better. I felt good. It felt good to get this win, and it's something to build off of. So, Brodes, to your point about a goaltender and netminder play tonight, it was certainly up there for Carter Hart.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that there's positives that you can take out of it. I think that he could be sharper as well. Some of those, I'm just, because Carter Hart is so good that sometimes he makes even some of those timely saves, like that 4th goal that went short side. There seems to be a trend with some of these opponents looking for that high glove now, and I'm sure he's aware of it, and that's kind of what happens once you get yourself into this league. So something that he could work on. And in terms of this snowballing into the next one or whatever, I just feel I've seen too many of the same common mistakes from the D core and from the D zone that I don't know if I could be like, oh, well, this is good because they found a way to chip pucks out and not make those sloppy turnovers. You still saw those. So that's my concern. And I also hate this message. Maybe it's just me. Would love to get the opinion from everyone. But this whole, we're trending in the right direction thing. We're playing the right way, because they're looking at it from a shot perspective because they're getting more shots. But that doesn't necessarily tell me that they're trending in the right direction with their play. So I don't really like that message from AV and Claude. And I even think I heard JVR say that after not this game, but the game before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're doing it a lot, but are you doing it well? That's the thing. Quality, not quantity, I think is the point you're making, and I agree with you. Just because you're getting the pucks on net, so to speak, doesn't mean that they're good quality scoring opportunities. But I think you're alluding to the turnovers. How do you cure that? What do you do? As the novice hockey mind of us here, I have no clue how you solve that problem, because it seems to be every single night now they're either not winning the battles along the boards, they're not winning the battles in the corner. All they're doing is, unfortunately, losing those battles and turning the puck over. They forced a couple turnovers themselves, which is great, but it seems like too much of a consistent problem right now with the Flyers that they're just giving the puck away.
Yeah, it's not an easy one to fix. It's inconsistencies that happen far too often, and I think it's gonna haunt them down the road if they don't fix it. I don't know what the easy fix is, because it's a confidence issue. I feel like some of these D-men are stumbling around, falling and tripping over themselves, getting caught at times. So it's a confidence issue, or it's just it's they don't have enough beef back there to make better consistent plays.
Okay, like real quick, is Matt Niskanen? Because my thing is, all right, everyone's talking about Ekholm, right? So you get Ekholm. Is that going to change everything to make it look like last year? It's hard to think that one person made that much of a difference, but it was one person that changed. And now you're relying on guys like Nate Prosser and all. With all due respect, when you see a guy like Nate Prosser out there, I think it's kind of telling you where you're at. But you're telling me one person made that much of a difference to make it collapse to this level?
It's interesting, isn't it? But he was such a calming presence. He was kind of like just like vanilla enough to obviously help Provy out and just maybe calm the D-core out. I think there's just a young anxiety back there. I see it with maybe Sanheim and Myers at times, where it's just like, the wheels are falling off at times. I think a guy like Niskanen or anybody in that caliber of being able to calm down the game like that, and just kind of be say neutral, but not making mistakes and not turning pucks over is invaluable. It just calms everyone else down, because you're looking at a veteran guy. He's just like, just playing the game. Sometimes there's no play. Sometimes like you said, Brodes, like you're off the glass and out. Like sometimes maybe it's just a space play, and I feel like they force plays under pressure sometimes where there's just not a play there, and it, lands up, getting shoved up their ass. But, to your question, having a guy like that, really, Nasty's seen it before with some quietly good defensemen that just have an ability of just calming it down back there. So I don't know what the solution is right now. There's probably not much available, to patch these holes, but either these guys just get much better and more consistent and more confident, or it's going to be spotty like this. Like, you're going to win one or two, and you're going to lose a couple because the holes are not going to go anywhere else, but be exposed somewhere down the line.
Is there anything that Alain Vigneault should be doing? Is there anything coaching wise, an adjustment that needs to be made? It seems like, and my answer to this question would be no, because it seems like everything is getting tried at this point. But Derek, I'll start with you here. What do you think could be done, if anything, from just a strategy perspective?
Well, I'm not sure from a strategy perspective, but I feel like if they lose a game, there's 3 different players in the lineup next game. And I think sometimes that's hard for guys. Like Provy's played with every guy on the D-core this year. And I'm not a GM, I'm not a coach, but that can't be easy. And I feel like back to, you were talking about Niskanen and Brodes. He was, like Riley said, he was so calming, but Provy created it was like a chemistry they had like pretty quick last year. And I think it helped Provy be able to jump up into the play knowing that he had Niski there. And I'm not sure if he's like jumping into the play as much, maybe not seeing as much offensive, because he's, in the back of his mind, he's playing with someone different tonight. He probably forgets who he's out there with sometimes. And that's no knock on anyone. It's just the truth. He's literally played with Ghost. I've seen him out there with Prosser, all the guys, Sanny, Mizey. He's been out with all those guys. So I don't know about a way to fix it. Like you said, you get Ekholm. Is that going to fix it? I don't know how.
I think maybe I agree with you. It probably won't fix all the holes, but I think you owe it to yourself to try and get a calming defenseman to see if that is it. Now, I know the expansion draft and all of that's going to play a role into what type of moves you make, but I think you owe it to yourself to try and get that one veteran, stay-at-home type of defenseman to see if that allows Provorov to be more of that, jump up in the rush kind of guy, and that calms him down. Then everyone somewhat falls back into their own role. I don't know. You just gotta give it a shot. You have to imagine Chuck Fletcher's on the phone.
I'm sure he is.
You think so?
Point, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I think time to
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if we're seeing it, and we're seeing it so blatantly obvious, I think it's something that they're definitely addressing. I'm just hoping it's something that's sooner rather than later. And I know a lot of Flyers fans following them on Twitter and them tweeting me back about the game just tonight and what's happened over the last really 8-game stretch that this Flyers team has been on. It seems like they want something that is not just a calming presence to the other guys in terms of just being comfortable with a veteran defenseman, but it's also a calming presence to fans trying to watch these games as well, saying, all right, come on, you got up, protect the lead. Whether it's 1 goal or 2 goals, you can't have these mid-game breakdowns. You can't have late-game breakdowns. You can't have any breakdowns. You need to have somebody that can control the puck and be that proverbial quarterback of a defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I forget which goal it was. Maybe their third goal. Like, you know, the Flyers had possession of the puck in the O-zone. It seemed like everything was under control. I think maybe Raffle, and then I don't think Q maybe supported the puck as well as he could have. A change of sides. Next thing you know, they're behind a defenseman. It was just like, you know, just when you think you got things under control, they're not. And it's like, you know, it's a tough way to play. You know, especially when you're in a playoff race the rest of the season here, and having those inconsistencies is tough. You know, it's hard on the goalie. It's hard. I mean, it's a 200-foot game, and then all of a sudden you're back checking when you had possession. Just on a simple play. I know it's easier said than done, but you know, to me, I find that tonight maybe 4 or 5 times just slipping and falling. It's like crumbling in certain situations. Like there's just like some weird things that are happening, but some immaturity is what I feel like. You know, it's a couple of those young defensemen is what it seems like at times. But you know, all you can hope for is that they can somehow find more confidence and be better. You know what I mean? Build off this. You know, like Brodes, to your point. I mean, I mean, they have a heavy schedule with some top tier teams here coming up, and the rest of the way. It's not going to be easy by any means. So they're going to have to find some sort of groove here sooner than later.
Brodes, to your point from earlier, going again back to Carter Hart and going back to some of these younger defensemen trying to improve. I mean, how much of this is weighing on Carter Hart to know that, I mean, I hate to go to this analogy, but like you got to know that as a goalie, you're going to get a lot of opportunities here to try to save your team, and to the point where they're going to be relying on you. How much do you think that's mentally weighing on a guy like Carter Hart?
Yeah, definitely. I thought you were going to go for the old Carson Wentz, Nick Foles comparison with Brian Elliott. So I started to cringe a little bit. Here we go.
No. If NHL Hockey 94 has taught me anything, it's the mindset of hockey.
Look, I loved what Moose did. He stepped in and all, but yeah, you can't overplay him. And I think you started to realize that recently. But yeah, with Carter, I would imagine so, right? You're a young goalie. We all talked about it from the jump. And I feel like because hockey's like 4th on the totem pole, if you will, here, it's like the casual fans just hear Carter Hart is this guy that's going to step in and be the franchise guy, but they don't realize that in hockey, being 20 years old and stepping into the crease is not this common thing, and there's going to be this huge growing pain. But if there's anyone to do it, it's him. Like if you do the research on who he is and how he approaches the game, the mental side of the game, how he prepares for the game and all that, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it is weighing down on him because he wants to be that guy and he hasn't played the best. But I think that's one big, like we talk about it with Embiid now taking that MVP step and Ben Simmons growing. This is the process of Carter Hart, and you just need to realize that there's going to be these ups and downs, and you're witnessing this big part of his development as a goalie at the pro level. But to answer your question, yeah, I do think it's weighing on him, but this is part of it. This is part of being a 20-year-old goalie. That's not normal.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like they need some like 40-year-old defenseman back there or somebody. Just somebody to be like, hey, I got you. Don't you worry about it. But, I mean, Riley, you've played with enough goaltenders. I mean, when they know they're that last line of defense, and that last line of defense is going to get tested over and over and over again, similar to the way it did last night, I mean, that has to be on your mind as you're making every move.
Yeah, you know, there's an energy when you have a goaltender that you know is going to make the save, and you know you can maybe make a mistake, and he's got your back. There's a confidence thing, right? And teams play a certain way in front of different goalies. I don't feel like that's the case at all with either of the goalies. You know, unfortunately, mistakes do happen, and probably more than they should, maybe right in this moment. And you know, maybe he's absorbing more grade A opportunities than he should. You know, maybe tonight's not a great example of that. He did make some big saves for sure. But you know, it's one of those things. The team has to be better in front of the goaltending, whoever's in the pipes. And I think the goaltending can be improved. But with that being said, to Brodes' point, I mean, if there's going to be a goaltender that's going to rise above and deal with this adversity, and be that franchise goalie that everyone expects him to be, it is Carter Hart. There's no question. And Brodes' point too, it's not an easy position at that young age, and it's not an easy position to take on in Philly, let alone any NHL team. But I still see him growing. There's always bumps in the road, especially in that position. But he needed that. He needed that win. The team needed that win, and hopefully there's some some chemistry, some confidence they can pull out of this, and just string a few together. We need to string a few together to to kind of get back into that race and be competitive. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and Derek, you've seen your share of goalies, of course, for all the years you were on the Flyers bench as well.
We saw 8 a couple years ago.
Yeah, right.
In one season.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Eight goalies, right?
What's Alex Lyon up to these days? I haven't seen him in a while.
He was there. He was there tonight. He was on the bench anyway. He had his mask on.
That's right. Yeah, it's when Brodes, you mentioned the history of Carter Hart, and Derek, as you know, this is a guy that had a mental strength coach at 8 years old. When I was 8 years old, I was just worried about how I wasn't going to repeat kindergarten for a third time. And this guy is just coming out there, and he is just doing what he needs to do to make sure he keeps his team in these games. He admitted, and we've seen him, I hate to call it a temper tantrum, but just vent his frustration. Where was he in Buffalo when he was just hacking the crap out of the posts? And even since then, he's come a long way and had a nice spurt in between. But right now, it seems like, and he even said, as I pointed out earlier, that this is the time where he's going to try to get within his own again. And I see him doing that. I have confidence that he can do that. I don't make that comparison, but it has been out there with the Carson Wentz thing. And I think you're right, Brodes. That's something that a lot of people will point out as a casual fan. But I like what you said, the process of Carter Hart. We got to be patient with this. We got to let him grow. 22 years old right now between the pipes for the Flyers, and he's got all the pressure in the world when it comes to being a solid netminder for this team for a long period of time, something they haven't had in quite some time, as we know. But Derek, I'll start this with you. We're going to wrap it up here in our first ever post-game show with the Nasty Knuckles crew and also Sports Talk with Brodes. Derek, they got the Rangers again Wednesday night, 7:30, puck drop. What are the chances right now they're able to put the full 60 together, as they like to say?
Well, I never believe there's going to be a full 60. It's just in any game, like we were talking about runs, but I know what you mean. I think I'm hoping that they come out with some. This is a confidence. Wasn't pretty. We know it, but sometimes you need that ugly win. They got an ugly win the other night, and it didn't seem to translate the next game. But tonight, hopefully, going back playing the Rangers again, I think they're gonna take care of business and be a lot better throughout the game. Like we said earlier, they came out flat-footed in the second, which really shocked me. And you got to give the Rangers a little bit of credit too. They put their foot on the gas and they were buzzing around, and they got a few guys that can snap the biscuit, pretty well. So I look forward to them coming out with a big win. Wednesday.
Wait, snap the biscuit. Hold on.
Write that down, Farzy.
Hold on. You got to put the biscuit in there for sure.
Gotta snap it.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's funny because us three acknowledge, like, oh yeah, of course, the biscuit. And Farzy gets a big smile on his face. The people who don't play it all, they hear these terms and it's like, what does he say?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes you got to snap the biscuit where mom keeps the peanut butter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there you go.
Right. I'm learning things. Riley, how about you, man? Wednesday night, 7:30 puck drop. Can they put 2 wins together?
I think so. I think Rangers might get a body or two back. They were out for COVID, but I still feel the Flyers are the better team. As much of holes as we're talking about here, I still feel the Flyers are a better team tonight, and I'd like to think that they're going to carry over this energy and this win into Wednesday's game, and learn from some of these mistakes. If you can learn a lesson and still win the game, to me that's gravy. So I mean, there's a few holes they could clean up. Maybe some defensive coverage, just in the neutral zone a little bit loose. And at the very least, just minimize some of those grade A chances. But I think they're going to be good and win on Wednesday.
All right, Brodes. Give it to me. What do you? How many biscuits get snapped in this one coming up on Wednesday?
Well, I'll say this. The fact that they lose to the Caps and they lose to these good teams, but they're beating Buffalo and they're beating the Rangers, the alternative is they could be falling to these teams and even going into a worse direction. So
that's it.
They should be able to beat the Rangers. So with that being said, we'll try and keep it a little positive here, end on the positive note, and they'll take care of business.
I
Get
love
2
it.
points.
I eat it up. I eat up every second of those big 2 points, my friend.
Back to back, Brodes, with that perp.
It's an everyday thing. I got different cup: purple, blue, yellow, black, white, gray. Got it all.
Did you wear that during the game tonight, Brodes?
This is an all-day attire. Go back to Coffee with Brodes this morning. I was sitting here in the same spot at 9 a.m. with my Yeti, and I was going to town.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good. Maybe I don't know. I'll try to match the energy. Maybe I'll wear a mullet or something in my bald head.
Wear a mullet.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. But it's been a blast talking hockey with you great hockey minds. Thanks for letting me pal around with you doing this. And my thanks to all the people that were watching us on Twitter, on YouTube, through the Nasty Knuckles Network as well. Check out Nasty Knuckles Podcast Web Show, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure you're following them on Instagram and all social media. They always got great clips. If you just need to wet your beak with a little hockey fix, they got it for you right there. Also, Sports Talk with Brodes, at Sports Talk with Bros, Sports Talk with Bros on YouTube. Correct, Brodes?
Yeah, Sports Talk with Brodes on YouTube, on Twitter, at Brodes81.
Easy enough. My name is Marc Farzetta, folks. Thanks for talking some pucks with us after a great Flyers win. I'm calling it right here. 5-3 Flyers win. They get the empty netter on Wednesday night to secure that victory. Put them back-to-back. Biscuits being snapped all over the damn town.
I like it.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you check out Nasty Knuckles, Sports Talk with Brodes, and the Farzy Show with myself, Marc Farzetta, Monday through Friday as well. Have a great evening, and we'll look forward to talking some pucks with you again in the not-too-distant future. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.